at the air plant on my right hand, you see that the foliage is whiter. We call them silver color. So these are the silver Tilencia or air plants. On my left hand is the more greener foliage one. So if you happen to see a slightly silver colored one, this means that this plant prefer more light, less water. If you see a greener one, like here, it means it requires more water, less light. Right? So actually there are air plants suitable for everybody. My right hand again, this is a lot more silver colored. So this means that you can put this in good morning sun to full sun. They can still take it. But if you have a plant that is a bit greener like this, so don't put it in the too harsh a sun because it may scorch the leaves. Right? Now even if your leaf gets scorched, do not be despaired. The plant will look ugly for a while, but the plant will learn to acclimatize. That means the new leaves that shoots out will be more heat tolerant. It is so difficult for me to find a favorite. So why don't I share with you all 5 easy to grow air plants in Singapore. Alright. So one of them is this thing called Ionantha vanhingii. Alright. I have 2 varieties of Ionantha vanhingii on my hands. Now if you all recall, these are more silver color, so they prefer a sunny place. Now these Ionantha vanhingii, if you put them in full sun, they are not only whitish, but the core of the plant will turn a bit pinkish, which I'm sure a lot of people will like. So let me show you a little bit pinkish one. Now this plant is going to flower, that's why it has some color, but it also shows some pink coloration. That is when your place is very bright and your plant will turn a bit of color like this. And then these plants are very prolific growers. So from one, you get many. Of course, it's not a good thing for business, but from one, you end up many which you can share with your friends and your family members, you know. So this is one of my favorite, Ionantha vanhingii. Under normal condition, a non-blooming air plant look like this, but when it's about to flower, it turns color. Now the objective is for the plant to attract pollinators. When it's very colorful, the birds, the butterflies, the bees will come and pollinate the plant, so to ensure survival. Right? So if you see a very colorful plant, likely the plant is going to flower, and after flowering, the good news is from one you get multiple pieces. This is again another sun-loving one. Now this has a very quirky name. It's called Tilencia Funkiana. Now this is a single piece, and this is a massive clump that probably takes about 20 over years from a single plant to develop. Right? So it takes a lot of patience, but the good thing about air plant is about this variety is they flower very readily in Singapore. If you take a closer look, right, can you see that the ones at the top, the leaves are turning reddish color, right, and then the center has closed up. So if probably in 2 to 3 weeks time, you will see lovely red colored flowers protruding up from the center of the leaves, and this clump is going to get bigger again because from one you get multiple. And notice that it's the top that are flowering best because they get more light compared to the rest of the clump. Of my favorite Tilencia is this called Spanish moss. That's a common name. The scientific name is called Tilencia usnoidis. It grows like this, you know, in a clump. Now, if you look at movies and videos, right, you find these growing in places of Florida and many parts of South and Central America. Now, they grow in the wild like weeds, but in Singapore, we need to pay good money to get them. Okay, now this Spanish moss, there are two situations. One is either your place really suitable for them and they grow like weeds, or the other one is they are not so suitable, and then customers always complain of them drying up. Now Spanish moss, you have to water every day. If I'm in the nursery and I'm free, I water them 2 to 3 times a day where I can, because they love water, and with this kind of weather they dry up very quickly. So the more I water them, the longer and faster they grow. This used to be 30 cm, and in about 3 months they have grown to about a meter long already. And that is because I water them religiously. So if you happen to have a clump of Spanish moss, give it a lot of watering, they will tend to do better. Nice Tilencia to have is this Tilencia streptophylla. It's also known as the queen of air plant. Now if you look at these 2 plants, they may look a bit different, but they're actually the same plant. Right? You can actually groom this plant to look the way you like. Now if you like these plants to look bigger, you water them generously, and the leaves will all be erect and stand up like this. Now if you want the plants to look curly like a ball, you don't water them so frequently, and the leaves will bend down and then they will twirl. So it gives a very Goldilocks like feel to it, right? And a lot of ladies, they like to buy this Tilencia streptophylla because they are also known as the queen of air plant. right? So when there's a queen of air plant, naturally there will be a king of air plant, and that is also one of my favorite plant. Okay, now we have a small baby, a king of air plant, and a big one. Now, king of air plant is also known as Tilencia xerographica. Xerographica comes from the word xeric, it means dry. So again, you can see that the leaves are a bit silver. So this plant doesn't like too much water. Maybe 1 week you water 1 or twice is sufficient enough. And this Tilencia xerographica can grow from very small to humongous. Right, so this is still considered acceptable size, but I have a lot bigger one. If you come with me this way. Okay, so this is a xerographica that is currently flowering. So you just imagine, normally it looks like this, but when it's flowering, these long spike or inflorescence jut out from the center of the plant. And xerographica, they usually give 1 or 2 babies after flowering, right? So not a very prolific grower, but I like it because it can grow huge. Let me show you an even bigger one. Well, if you look at this giant here, this has flowered, but if you imagine if it didn't flower, air plants in Singapore can keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? But so I always joke to my friends, I need to get a bigger house. My plants are all growing so huge now, right? So that's the interesting thing about air plants. And one little add-on, after the air plants flower, they won't grow any bigger, but they will use all the energy to produce baby plants. So it's a happy ending, I'm sure, for the plant and for you. I hope you all had a great time with us and learn a little bit more about air plants, and I hope to see you all again. Bye-bye.